In Capital News tonight, one person's killed and 3 others injured during fracas in Tunduma, Songwe region. A fire burns down 3 dormitories at Kaloleni Islamic Seminary. And in sports, Yanga Sports Club confirm arrival date of their new coach. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. One person was killed and 3 others seriously injured after a group of followers from Chadema Party invaded the office of the executive officer of Mwakakati in Tunduma Town, Songwe region, protesting against nomination procedures used for opposition aspirants. Speaking on the incident, the Commissioner of Operation and Training from the police force, Liberatus Sabas, warned politicians with intent on breaching peace.
Sasa wao wanataka tuwafafanulie kilichoandikwa kwenye ile karatasi. Hiyo sio kazi yako, tusomeni hiyo karatasi.
And the fires gutted 3 dormitories at Kaloleni Islamic Seminary School in Moshi District, Kilimanjaro region. The principal of the school, Hussein Laisi, said the fire occurred in the morning when students were having breakfast. This is the 2nd fire incident at the school.
Moto umewaka katika mabweni ambako watoto wetu wanaishi. Kuna mabweni matatu.
The fire occurred in the dormitories where our children live. There are 3 dorms and all of them have completely burnt down. It has caused significant loss because all beds and mattresses have been completely burnt. And as students were having tea, they could not manage take two. As students who were having tea, they could not manage to save anything.
Moto huo ulianza.
The fire began at 6:45. We are very thankful that at the time our students had gone out to take tea, so they were not in the location of the incident. So all of our children are safe. We are saddened by the destruction of property, which for this school, it is the 2nd time this is happening. We should have had enough of a lesson from the first incident. The government has already directed fire experts from the fire brigade as well as inspectors to find out the cause of the fire, and action will be taken if we find out that someone caused the fire or if there was negligence.
A day after nomination of presidential and parliamentary as well as councillorship candidates, the National Electoral Commission has called on candidates to adhere to election ethics and laws. The National Electoral Commission has also urged media houses not to violate election rules and procedures and lead the country into turmoil.
Tunawasihi sana Watanzania msiingie kwenye vurugu ambazo hazina msingi.
We urge Tanzanians not to engage in activities that could cause chaos. The 2020 election ethics for presidential seat and parliamentary seats will become effective from today, so the law and punishment will be operational from today, but also laws governing the country are also operational. We urge media houses. They are our major electoral stakeholders, and if they are not careful regarding this matter, then it could be risky because election is very important. We'll work with you. Be careful with online sources who announce results unofficially. So you must wait for the election results from the National Electoral Commission.
And the High Court of Corruption and Economic Crimes Division of Tanzania sentenced the former Commissioner of Tanzania Revenue Authority, TRA, Harry Kitilia, and 4 others to pay a fine of 1.5 billion shillings to the government after entering into an agreement with the Director of Public Prosecution. Here are more details.
The court also directed the 5 to each pay a fine of 1 million shillings or serve a 6-month jail term after admitting to causing the government to incur a loss of $6 million. The other accused in the case are former employees of Stanbic Bank, Jose Sinare, Sioi Solomon, Commissioner of Policy and Monitoring of Debts from the Ministry of Finance and Planning, Benson Shalanda, and his assistant Alfred Misana. Meanwhile, at Kisutu Resident Magistrate Court, the presidential candidate for Chadema Party, Tundu Lissu, who is facing a seditious case, failed to appear in court because he was taking part in the exercise to return presidential nomination forms at the National Electoral Commission in Dodoma. Kisutu Resident Magistrate Court adjourned the case until September 24th.
Residents from Muzi village in Kalampo district, Rukwa region are using bicycles to transport patients due to the poor state of the road connecting the village to the Kasanga dispensary. Speaking at a public meeting, the residents urged the government to repair the road so that it becomes passable.
Because Town Road will continue to improve the 800 meters section, let us use the other road as an alternative. Work should be done by the next month. The complaint here is that every rain season, the top surface is washed off in the rainwater, so you must place caravans to completely deal away with this problem.
57 passengers have escaped death after a bus belonging to Ali's company, which was traveling from Shinyanga to Dar es Salaam, went up in flames at Bahi in Dodoma region.
The explosion led to brake drums sticking together, which caused the fire inside the bus. The bus has been completely destroyed. I urge transport owners to place fire extinguishers on the bus, but also that the bus is insured so as to protect passengers who may be affected.
That's all for the national news. International news is next. In international news, President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya has raised the number of people allowed to attend weddings and funerals from the current 15 to 100, but he cautioned that laid down COVID-19 guidelines provided by the Ministry of Health must be adhered. He made the statement in his address to the nation at State House in Nairobi, whereby he also extended the dusk to dawn curfew and closure of bars to another 30 days.
Following the allegations of impropriety at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, better known as KEMSA, the relevant investigative agencies of our country are currently fully seized with the matter. However, given the compelling public interest on the matter, the relevant agencies should expedite their ongoing investigations and conclude the same within 21 days from the date hereof. Fellow Kenyans, in line with my stated public policy on zero tolerance to corruption,
military leaders from Rwanda and Burundi have met at the border of Nemba between the two countries to discuss on the deteriorating security situation in border areas. The meeting was also attended by chief investigators from countries of the Great Lakes zones.
Dans un premier temps, à déterminer les causes de la.
The aim of this meeting is to first look at reasons for these border crossing incidents. Secondly, it is to investigate all avenues used so as to find a solution to this safety issue. This meeting has come at a good time to discuss safety matters, and we hope that you will have no bias so that the truth can be determined and the law can be upheld.
A Berlin hospital says opposition Russian leader Alexei Navalny, a fierce critic of President Vladimir Putin, was likely poisoned. Yvonne Msemembo talks to Thomas Sparrow, our partner correspondent, on the story.
Developments about this opposition Russian leader Alexei Navalny after he went to Berlin for treatment after he fell sick on his way to Moscow last week. Preliminary results say that he might have been poisoned. Is that so?
That's what the German hospital Charité is saying after carrying extensive tests on Mr. Navalny. They published a statement earlier this week in which they said that medical evidence pointed indeed to poisoning, although they still had to carry out more tests to find out specific details about the substance. This is not what Russian doctors have said, and in fact Russian authorities have stressed that it may still be too early to identify exactly what happened to Mr. Navalny. Another important element in all this is what the hospital stressed, namely that Mr. Navalny is still in induced coma, that his condition is serious but not life-threatening.
Did he have any problems entering Germany?
He was brought to Germany by a private NGO called Cinema for Peace. This is an organization that was founded in 2002 that was already linked to a previous airlift or one of the Pussy Riot members who was also treated at the Charité hospital. So this was not an airlift carried out by the German government, although the German government was certainly informed about all this. The German government, however, did stress after the Charité presented its first findings that it wanted Russia to carry out an investigation urgently and in detail, and they also expected Russia to bring those responsible to justice. On the other hand, Russian authorities have stressed that they do not want this issue to affect bilateral relations, and that they're also interested in finding out exactly what happened to Mr. Navalny.
So would you say that this incident hasn't in any way had an impact in the relations between Germany and Russia?
It will probably have an impact between both countries, given the fact that they have very different views on what is exactly happening with Mr. Navalny. Russia and Germany have very important relations, but also very challenging relations. For example, from an economic perspective, those relations are said to be deep. You may know, for example, the case of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline that is being built between both countries, a very controversial pipeline, by the way. But politically, there are also very challenging topics. Ukraine, for example, being one topic that makes both countries fall under different opinions and different perspectives. But there's only one out of many cases that are challenging between both countries, and the Navalny case now could be another example which could even make relations between Germany and Russia, between the EU and Russia, more problematic.
Germany's responded that way, but in general, when we're looking at the EU, how have they reacted to this situation?
The EU also asked for an investigation in this particular case. In fact, Germany was not the only country to do so. We've heard from other countries around the world also asking Russian authorities to start that investigation and to bring those responsible to justice. It's also important to stress that Germany normally coordinates its foreign policy at the EU level as well. So this is why we also heard similar statements coming from Berlin and from Brussels on this particular case. It's important because Russia plays an important role in international affairs, and as such, German officials want to make sure, on the one hand, that Mr. Navalny can get better, that the hospital here in Berlin can help him to improve when it comes to his health condition, but on the other hand, that it can be clarified what exactly happened to him and who was behind that poisoning, according to what the hospital has said here in Berlin.
So, in the meantime, is Mr. Navalny going to continue staying in Germany to receive further treatment?
We haven't heard information to the contrary, and it is expected that because Mr. Navalny is still in serious condition, although as I say his condition is not life-threatening, and because Mr. Navalny is still in a medically induced coma, that he will still be treated by doctors at the Charité hospital. By the way, the Charité hospital is described as one of the most important hospitals in Germany and in Europe, and it has previously treated also high-ranking politicians. For example, the Ukrainian politician Yulia Tymoshenko, or as I mentioned earlier, also Pussy Riot activist Verzilov, also treated here at the Charité hospital. So that's also one of the reasons why the relatives of Mr. Navalny decided to push for him to be brought to Germany, and in particular to Berlin, and in particular to the Charité hospital here in the German capital.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom. We're waiting to hear more about the developments of the situation. Thanks so much again.
Thank you very much.
And that special report ends our international news. We'll be back with business news after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and now in business news. Tobacco farmers in Katavi owe more than 1.75 billion shillings in loans, which they have not been able to pay due to poor harvest. The Region Commissioner of Katavi, Juma Homera, has urged CRDB Bank to give the farmers more time and come up with procedures that will enable farmers to repay the loans.
The public should be given a certain amount of money and then make a commitment to pay the loan within 5 years so that they don't end up with nothing when they harvest their crops in season. Our bank has successfully accomplished many things, including recently being recognized by the Green Climate Fund as a bank that is highly invested in policy and environment.
Cotton prices in Kahama District, Shinyanga region have gone up from 850 to 900 shillings a kilo due to growing competition in the market, contributed by the revival of the cotton factory owned by Kahama Cooperative Union.
This is Honorable President's intent. As you can see, the plant is operational and this warehouse is full product of this factory. They must be sure on the quality of cotton received from farmers so we avoid such challenges.
Tanzania Bankers Association TBA has launched a campaign called Smart Jisevie, aimed at sensitizing the public to use digital banking services in making various transactions.
Today we are launching a campaign for banks to operate digitally, Smart Jisevie Popote. It means that you can access banking services from where you are. Our slogan should now be smart, go cashless.
And that's all for the business news. Sports is up next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Joaquinho, he did lose some length.
Welcome back, and now in sports. Young Africans have confirmed new coach Cedric Kaze will arrive at the end of this week to take over reins at the club. Here's the story.
Without a coach since they fired Belgian Luc Eymael at the end of the 2019-20 mainland Premier League season, despite announcing they had hired the Burundian tactician to replace Eymael. Younger fans have been questioning when he will arrive to start coaching the side, with only a few weeks remaining before the season kicks off on September 6. Yanga Sports Club partner GSM's investment director Hazi Said has now cooled down the nerves of the fans after confirming the coach will arrive in Dar es Salaam on Friday.
Azam FC have confirmed the extension of contracts of head coach Aristika Chiaba and his assistants. Here's more.
Given one more year to coach the ice cream makers who failed to win a single trophy in the last season, the side eventually surrendered second position to Yanga Sports Club after holding on to it for the better part of the season. They were also eliminated in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup.
And Lionel Messi has told Barcelona that he wants to leave the club immediately and on a free transfer. Here are more details.
The Argentinian, who according to Rasi Radio has told the new manager Ronald Koeman that he felt more out than in, has sent a burofax to Barcelona informing them of his desire to go. A burofax is in effect a recorded letter and was used by Messi to serve formal notice. Barcelona replied in same format, telling the forward they want him to stay. Messi's camp believes that a clause in his contract means he can walk away for no fee. Barcelona, by contrast, insists that he is still bound by a €700 million buyout clause. The bombshell dropped on Tuesday evening with the news that Messi had told the club on Tuesday afternoon.
Serena Williams was sent spinning out of the Western and Southern Open by Maria Sakkari after the Greek rallied from a set-down to beat the 23-time Grand Slam champion 5-7, 7-6, 6-1 and reach the quarterfinals.
Williams, 38, raced to a 4-2 in the opening set before Sakkari drew level, but the American raised her game again to take the early advantage in the rain-delayed contest. Williams trailed 3-1 in the second set before reeling off 4 games in a row and was serving for the match when things began to fall apart. While number 21 Sakkari dragged the set to a tiebreaker before leveling the contest at a 1-1. Then surged to a 5-0 lead in the decider and completed the upset win on her 8th match point with a powerful forehand. Afterwards, she said she did not play well but was delighted with the victory over the 3rd seed.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
Media accounts: YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
Si unajua kuwa 2020 ni mwaka wa uchaguzi? Basi ITV inatoa fursa kwa wagombea wote wa nafasi zote kujinadi na kueleza sera na mikakati yao kwenye kipindi cha Nagombea 2020. Changamkia fursa hii itakayokuwezesha kuwafikia walengo kwa bei nafuu.
Wasiliana nasi kupitia simu nambari 0767777147 au 0658777147 au 0688 0784302014 au 22277591 au advertise@itv.co.tz.
Ngoja, utakuta mwana si wako
Vigezo na masharti kuzingatiwa. Uhali gani mtazamaji wa ITV nawe msikilizaji wa Radio 1 popote pale unapoendelea kufuatilia yetu matangazo. Hiki ni kipindi cha dakika 45. Nikualike katika kipindi hiki tusafiri pamoja katika dakika hizi 45 ukiwa nami wako mtangazaji Deogratis Royunga, ambapo leo hii katika studio zetu za Mikocheni jijini Dar es Salaam mgeni wetu si mwingine bali ni Kamishna Jenerali wa Uhamiaji Dr. Anna Peter Makakala. Karibu sana katika dakika 45.
Asante sana.
Habari za uhamiaji?
Tunashukuru Mungu, tunaendelea, tunapiga kazi.
Hongereni, naona mambo yanakimbia sana sasa hivi. Mnaenda na ile kasi inayotakiwa.
Tunakimbizana.
Vizuri sana.
Asante.
Kamishna, kabla tujaenda ndani zaidi, unapozungumzia uhamiaji, mtazamaji au msikilizaji mwingine anaweza kusema idara hii inahusika tunaita wahamiaji haramu ambao wanaingia nchini bila kufuata utaratibu. Lakini sasa ingekuwa vema nikupe uwanja huu uweze kuelezea wala kwa ufupi majukumu mazima ambayo yanasimamiwa na idara yako.
Asante sana ndugu mtangazaji. Mimi napenda kuchukua nafasi hii kuweza kuongea na wananchi wa Tanzania, watazamaji wanaangalia kipindi hiki, kwamba kwanza kabisa idara ya uhamiaji ni chombo cha ulinzi